Certain things are defined by the style. For example, the style of speech. For example, if I go to a football match and I will listen to the commentator, we want to describe the sequence of actions. So that is exactly what the rule is called, sequence of actions. For example, he passes the ball or he gets the ball, etc., right? So one action is happening after another. One action happening after another. All right. Or another example of that would be when I wake up, I get up, brush my teeth, wash my face, and put on my makeup. Right? Because that is my routine. So first of all, it's my routine. Second of all, I do it in the order I described. That is also a sequence of actions, okay? All right, another rule is when we want to talk about some scheduled plans, events, etc. So let's say timetables, schedule. So these are the most important rules. When talking about the present, this is the most common tense to use, because normally when you talk to other people, you mostly are talking about things which describe the general state of things, right? What other state of things is there? Well, the state I am in at the moment of speaking, and there is also another state that started at some point in the past and is continuing into the future, into the present moment. But that is a whole different story, and we are not talking about that. We are pretending that we do not know this information, and this is the only thing that we know. Right, is there something we have missed? Well, yeah, all of these rules apply to present simple when using any verb that conveys a meaning. Okay, like to play. When I say play, you can imagine, you have a picture in your head, imagining a certain situation where the word can be applied. If I say to read, you also know what the action looks like, right? But there is a very specific verb in English and in other Germanic languages, and that is the verb to be. And so the way you build sentences with this verb is also a bit different, but it is based on the same logic. So the main difficulty here is that you have to conjugate this verb based on what pronoun you have, or what your subject is. So you always say I am, you are, he, she, it is, we are, you are, they are. Is it a lot to remember? I don't think so, right? You have to remember the form I am, but I think that's probably one of the first things you learn. You have to remember he, she, it is, right? And also, I will say it in a minute. As for the plural forms, you always have are, right? And they are all plural. So you basically have to remember one plural form, and then you know the rest, right? The same goes for you, but you see these forms are pretty much the same, so there isn't much to remember. Okay, as for this is, right, you can be like, why do we even have it? Well, honestly, I have no idea, but what is important here is that this is reminds us of the same S ending that we have here, right? So the logic remains the same. You can remember that you have to put this S ending when you have he, she, it, because you also say he, she, it is, right? Okay, how do we use this verb? For example, when I say I, so now we want to apply the same rules that we already learned, right? We have universal truth or facts, right? I can say the grass. Well, that's wrong because it should be grass, right? Grass is green. Is that a fact? Yes. Or I can say winter is cold. Is that a fact? Yes. In some countries, in many countries it is. Okay, another fact was habits, regularity. Okay, what can be regular? Let's think of an example when something is regular. My train is always late. Okay, that is regularity. Regularity. And here you can say facts. Facts, man, facts. Okay, and then we have sequence of habits, regularity, we had that one. Sequence of actions doesn't apply here. Timetable, schedule. Well, I can also say, if I say my train arrives at 4 p.m., I can also say my train is at 4 p.m. Right? So you see there are multiple ways to say the same thing, and that's okay. It's great if a language offers something like that, so don't be surprised if you can see a sentence expressed in one way and then a sentence expressed in another way, but you see that the meaning is the same. It's just that the language offers this variability in grammar forms, and that is beautiful. Okay, so now we have this beautiful to be. I can also say I can also use to be and add another rule which will only apply to the verb to be. Well, not only, but I mean, of course, you can use it with other verbs, but mostly you will use this verb when applying this rule, and that is characterization. Is that right? Characterization. I hope it's right. I think I'm dyslexic. Let's just write characteristics. And that is characterization. I'm just gonna write characteristics. Okay. So, for example, I am 26. Okay. Or I am a girl or a student, whatever. I am nice. Okay. You can note one thing. Here I use, this is a numeral, right? So I use it with a number. Here I used a noun. And here I used an adjective. Oops, I really cannot spell adjective. Okay? For that reason, let's say if you had a task, I am a girl, right? If you had a task like find the predicate in this subject, like the verb, right? You would have to underline the whole thing, because this is our verb to be, right? Conjugated in the verb I, in the form with the pronoun I. And this is our second part, right, which is a noun. But you can see it can be anything. It can be a numeral, it can be a noun, it can be an adjective, right? So for that reason, the verb to be is called the link verb. Link verb. Oops, wrong color. Link verb. Why is it a link verb? Because it links itself to another part of speech, which can be a numeral, an adjective, or a noun. And we don't see the same here when we say, for example, I go to my training every Monday. I made a mistake here. Every Monday. I go to my training every Monday, right? We don't see, we do see a noun, but here it's an object. So that's exactly the difference here. And I am a girl, right? A girl is a part, it's linked, is a part of the predicate. It's linked to my verb, okay, to be, okay?